Y'all, it's your girl Ashley, and you're listening to Sex with Ashley podcast, where we talk about pleasure, sex, relationships, and how to feel confident in your body without the shame. If you're ready for real talk with real tools, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Welcome to Sex with Ashley. So today we have the Love King himself, Mr. Raheem DeVaughn. Hello, Raheem.
I am here finally. I've been waiting to I want to say have sex was actually be on the Sex with Ashley show. I'm here.
Listen, okay? And so,
Ta-da.
ta-da, finally, right? So me and Raheem connected about a year or so ago, over a year ago.
No, over a year ago, I
Oh,
was on. It was actually during the Lettucey tour.
it was.
We were connected through Samantha, I want to say, and I can't remember what city it was, but
It
yeah,
was Houston. It was Texas.
Houston, Texas.
I remember
Yeah,
that. It was Texas, and we connected there. And then I interviewed you this year for Essence Festival.
Essence Festival. Yeah.
Yeah. So, question. Let's just get into it. So, your name's Love King. Where did that come from? Where does that stem from?
That was the Love King, which now has morphed into the Love King of Soul and R&B. It started out around 2012, 2013. Before that, I had many monikers, R&B hippie, neo soul rock star, and Soup Cooler Jones, and the Lip God, and just all these different things. And but on a serious note, we were trying to figure out. I hadn't been out. I hadn't had a project out since 2010. I was gearing up to put out a project in 2013, which was a place called Loveland album at the time, distributed through a label, Mass Appeal, and we were just talking about the art of reinvention, and it started on a call with me and a manager at the time, which is still a good friend, Mike MacArthur, and we had a debate about it. It was bold. It felt it could come off as cocky. Never the intention of it. I was doing a lot of community work at the time too, so having the Love Life Foundation and the love has always been the word love has always been intertwined into the albums. I think of that like if you think like kind of like the Electric Lady that was kind of always incorporated the Marauder, Midnight Marauder for the Tribe Called Quest
hmm
albums.
hmm
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like love, the love experience, love behind the melody, love and war masterpiece, a place called Loveland. And I just felt like it worked. It was a little, I was conscientious, and Dream had put out an album called Love King, right? And I was like, well, all right, maybe I don't want them to think like I'm trying to rip Dream off, you know what I mean? But I just felt like on and off the stage, in and out the studio, like it's giving Love King energy, you know what I mean? Like love for music, love for the community, that type of vibes. It's stuck.
Okay. Okay. So good. So it definitely stuck, and it's a good name.
Yeah.
So what do you know about love, or what have you learned about love now that you?
I've learned so much. I've learned so much that I put out a song recently called 20 Lessons of Love,
Okay.
which I'm on the 20 Lessons of Love tour. So yeah, I mean, not to be cliche, but love is a verb, not an action. Love is a verb of action, excuse me.
Mhm.
It's more than a four-letter word. These are like some of the lyrics of the song.
Okay.
It's uh, it's keeping your word when you give it. It's fragile and delicate. If it ain't God made it heaven sent, it ain't love. You know what I'm saying? It's not the grass that's green on the other side. Love is complicated sometimes. When you say you down, you got to stay down to ride.
hmm
Um, Love is tricky. It's all fun and games until she's back outside. It's not about ego or pride. It's about putting all those things to the side. These are just some of the 20 lessons of loves, and that's those are some of the like bullet points of what love is. It's not always happy. Sometimes it requires selfishness. You know what I'm saying? You know, it, Depending on how you love yourself will dictate how you're able to love your partner or your partners. You know what I mean? Like it's all these things.
Love is also commitment too. I was talking to someone on Facebook actually. They have made a post about could you be in a relationship with someone if you were not in love with them? And I was like, yes, because being in love is an emotion, and emotions fade sometimes by the day, by the minute, by the hour, right? But
But I would hope that you are. I would hope that that's the goal. Like you're working towards the goal of loving that person or being in love with them. If you're in a, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a
so
relationship with them.
yes, right? So I think it's important to like the person first. Like I need to like you, right?
Absolutely.
Like you as a
I
person.
got. I got to be able to just want to even be around you.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then the being in love part, it just kind of depends on what happened in that day. Like I will love you as a person, but like I think when like for women, we talk about being in love, like it's like the whole butterfly, all that thing. And I don't necessarily have that feeling every day, but I like you every day. And I
Mm-hmm.
love you as a person every day.
Mm-hmm.
So like the being in love part,
Mm-hmm.
it differs. At least for me. I might not be in love, but I like you. To me,
Yeah. I
liking you
mean,
is more important.
you being in like enough to be in a
Yes.
committed relationship or
Yes.
open relationship or what have
Yes.
you. Like it makes sense. It makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I almost fell and I got back up. Sorry.
And so over here on the Sex with Ashley podcast, we talk about sex. We talk about sexual health.
Hmm.
So what do you think, where do you think men go wrong when it comes to like sex and pleasing their partners?
I think when it comes to I think when it comes to sex and intimacy, you only have two types of partners. You got givers and takers.
Okay.
So a pleaser and a receiver. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So a lot of times, I think as men, we can be so blinded by the exhibition of sport in some cases, of the conquering of the woman, or I got it,
Okay.
or self pleasure that you can lose sight. And for me in particular, like when it comes to intimacy, which I said on like my first album, the greatest pleasure is giving pleasure, something to the effect of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
so for me in particular, I I would be probably I'm a I'm a giver. Or I get off on pleasing the woman. You know what I mean? Like my goal, like I'm gonna get mines anyway. But I want to make sure you get yours umpteen time. You know what I mean? Like so I think that, and I mean I don't think you could just kind of limit that to just men, there's some 2 minute sisters out there. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of pillow princesses. Yes.
Pillow
Uh-huh.
princesses and 2 minute sisters. You know what I mean? They had to turn 2 minute brothers. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, but even with that, intimacy is being Raheem at half a century is a lot different than Raheem at
Hmm.
a half a century. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I understand it all differently now. You know what I mean? And knowing that it's not just about it's a spiritual connection. It's in some cases the tying of souls. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of different things. So, but it should be pleasurable for both committing partners should be able
Correct.
to should be pleasured, have orgasms, a plethora of orgasms, and just like whatever comes with those orgasms, it should be an experience.
I agree. So I like the fact that you said that one, sex should be pleasurable for both people, and that two, that you like to please, right? Because I think a lot of times, and men don't understand this, or maybe they do and just don't care. But like the whole foreplay aspect of sex is very important to women because a lot of the times with women, the foreplay aspect is where they get their orgasm part. That's where it happens because a lot of women don't just have orgasms through like penetrative sex. They need all
Hmm.
the other things. And so like sometimes a lot of men, I would say a lot, sometimes men uh, maybe are lazy or don't want to do all that. They just kind of want to get to the hunching part, right? But
Yeah,
before you get to the hunching part, you got like if you care about your person, you need
yeah.
to make sure that they are also pleased. So that's
And more importantly, if you plan on like being around, like
yeah,
you know what I mean, if this, and like yeah, I would want to think you would want to know all the things that make your partner tick, and that don't. Some you might be laying down with a partner that has trauma.
right,
You know what I mean? Like, so, you need to know that. So it's just getting to know like what they like, what they don't like, how long they like it, like what's the safe word, like all those things are very important.
right. Yeah, if you're just passing through, I guess it don't matter. But if you here for a longer time, it is important to know.
Yeah.
So I know you do a lot of work around sexual health. So when does sexual health become like a non-negotiable for you?
I think it's always been a non-negotiable, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, I think, again, I'm a little older now, so looking back on my life, there's definitely times I put my that I can say that, oh man, I put my life at risk.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I made a decision that wasn't so smart. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
We all have.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but I think that when I grew into my musicianship and being the artist that I am, and just, thinking about ways that I could pay it forward, and, you know, I make music ultimately that makes people want to be intimate, fall in love, or have intimate experiences. In some cases, it's even come with a warning label, you know what I mean, on certain records. Beautiful babies
Hmm.
to my music, or get married, have their first kiss, lose their virginity for the first time, you know what I mean? So I'm there in some of the most intimate moments. So, I think, social responsibility it just, for me, that goes hand in hand, but I always marched to the beat of a different drum anyway, and having the foundation, starting the Love Life Foundation back in 2013 as well, it just aligned, even my partnership, which I have with Gilead Sciences right now, I'm no stranger to HIV prevention. I've worked with previous organizations in the past, you know what I mean, as well. So I couldn't see myself doing anything other than that, whether it's HIV prevention or conversations about, mental health, domestic violence, like, anything that these are the things that are affecting us as people of Black and brown color.
Right. And so I'm glad you brought up HIV prevention because that brings it to my next topic. So, how do you personally bring up like testing and prep use in like, or prep in like your regular conversation with people? Like, how do you bring that conversation up?
I mean, I just don't have any reservations about it now. I'm older, you know what I
Okay.
mean? You bump your head, you learn from mistakes, not having important conversations you need to have, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so it's it's easy for me, but I think that, if for somebody who may feel insecure, you know, so I think it's one of the first, if you see it going there, I think it's one of the conversations that you just have and kind of just get it out the way
Right.
so you can have the woosah, you know what I mean? And get to know that person in the other ways, not just intimately, but, those are having, part of intimacy is having intimate conversations.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, once you get over the awkwardness or the shallowness, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and you realize that, hey, like, it's not so bad just to have a conversation. I mean, now we got take home kits. You can do it in the privacy of your home. Nobody has to be in your business, in you all's business, and you swab me, I swab you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Make it
Sound,
sexy.
yeah, make it sexy. Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
sound like a fun. Sounds like a song.
Yeah, yeah. You swap me, I swap you. And so,
Yeah.
so for people who might be listening to this and who don't know what prep is, so I'll
Hmm.
explain what prep is because I forgot I didn't talk about what prep was. So, so prep is so when I talk about prep, I tell people prep is kind of like the birth control of HIV,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you take prep, you have to be HIV negative first, and you
Hmm.
take prep to remain negative. So if
Hmm.
you're someone who's living with HIV, prep does not work for you. It works only for people who are negative and who wish to remain negative.
Hmm.
And if you, and when taken properly, it's I think like 98% effective when taken properly. So that's what prep is
Hmm.
for people who are listening, and man, I know what that is. So back with prep. So a lot of times when it comes to like heterosexual men or hetero men, they feel like prep is not for them. They're like, well, I don't need to be on that, right? This episode is brought to you by Pleasure Please, my book that helps you build confidence, communicate your needs, and reclaim pleasure without shame. Available now on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and wherever books are sold. So, what is your
Well,
opinion
gang, as a heterosexual man, I'm on prep, and I've been on prep for like 3 going on 4 years now.
on? Okay.
You know what I mean? It was introduced to me through my doctor, Dr. Hodge. At the time, I was looking for a new doctor, primary care physician
Mm-hmm.
that was Black, in my area, that was advanced in the technology and just all the things. And one of the first things he asked me, in the process of getting my physical, um, along with a long list of other questions was, hey, are you on prep? You know? when is the last time you recall having, unprotected sex? Are you married? Are you in a committed relationship?
Mhm.
He asked a lot of different questions. You know what I mean? Uh, I asked about side effects, and he also shared with me what was going on in the DMV area.
Mhm.
The statistics and the numbers are high, and being so high. The rate of people who are HIV positive, in the area. Just this week, it was a big announcement in a certain county here in Maryland where it's saying over 8,000 residents have tested positive for HIV.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? So that's right here in my hood, in my area, you know, in the DMV. And so I said, immediately, I said, all right, I want to try it and get on and ask what the side effects are. And yeah, it's been cool. I mean, he even went so he said like this is not the green light to just be out here raw dogging it either, but this is like the added protection should you come in contact with someone who is HIV positive and they don't know or do know, you
Mhm.
know, just to have that added protection. You know what I mean? And I was with my older sons probably in the last 3 months or so, and we had a conversation about, my oldest two about, hey, like, you know, especially my one that's in the military, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you might want to talk to your doctor about
Yeah.
you get your choice. Can't say I didn't tell you.
Tell you.
Can't say I didn't warn you. Can't say I didn't prep you. No pun
Right.
intended.
Right.
You know?
And
Yeah.
I love that you use your platform as a heterosexual man to talk about PrEP, because a lot of people assume PrEP is just for gay men or people who are men who have sex with men, right? They don't think that it's something that people who are heterosexual men or women, something that
hmm
they think that's something that they need or use or should at least ask about. So I love that you use your platform to talk about
Well, the elephant, or they live alternative lifestyles well, and so it's very important that the message get out there because it makes me wonder what are the numbers for
that. Mhm.
black heterosexual men or for black men just period,
Mhm.
right? Whether you're bi or straight, you know what I mean? What do those numbers look like? Or do we have those numbers? Like, are we going out to get tested enough to have those numbers? You get what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important not only to educate yourself on what PrEP is or talk to your primary care doctor about if it's for you, but more importantly, like get tested, know your status, get tested regularly. One of the things I love about being on PrEP as well is that, I mean, automatically you have to get tested every 3 months anyway to
Yep.
make sure that because, for other reasons, what I
Right.
mean? You can't be HIV positive and be on PrEP.
Right.
So, oh yeah, but aside from conversations about PrEP and HIV, it's like, no, just knowing, just like, hey, it's cool to go to the doctor. Let's make it cool to go to the doctor. Let's make it cool to get a physical. And knowing about our blood pressure, our high blood pressure, our sugar. You know what I mean? As somebody who is pre-diabetic, I am very try to be very cognizant about that, holistic ways as well as, you know, ways that I can curve that and get that under control. You know what I mean? So keeping an eye on it. So, you know, our health is important. We only have one life, one body, one heart, and
Yeah.
want to be here as long as we can,
Yeah.
to enjoy
Yeah.
it.
And like something that you said, like a lot of times black men, well, at least in like the older generations, like my father's generation and grandfather,
hmm
they didn't go to the doctor. So I love that, I do seem like the men in my generation, they're
Yeah.
starting to go to the doctor more and care about their health more than our parents' generation. And I love that. I love that they are at least attempting to care. Or,
And listen, the way this insurance, they talking about this insurance about to
oh
go up.
yeah,
If you got it, you better use it.
use it,
You know what
right?
I mean? I'm finna use it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So we can ready to switch over to a segment. It's called Questions from My DM.
Okay.
So when I have guests come on the show, I like do like an all call for people to like ask the guest questions.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick one question because
Okay.
so Papa Puff at Papa Puff said, "What is your perspective on battery operated boyfriends? Do you embrace a good sex toy or do you shy away from them?"
I'm not anti sex toys in the bedroom if it enhances the situation for and it's about what your partner's into though too, and what
True.
gets them off. So it ain't just about like me, but I know what I'm giving. I know what it's giving over here on the side in the bedroom. So it's like, we can get it done with or without it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think the danger in it for a lot of women with their toys is that you can become hooked on that sensation, right? Or that feeling where it's like you might feel like you can't get off without it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like in some cases, you know what I mean? And or
Hmm.
there's a lot of other things to unpack there. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
sometimes it's just easier. I would imagine, I'm not a woman, but I would imagine that, like, I have been told by women, like, hey, all right, yeah, I'd rather just deal with my toy because it's no emotional attachments.
Hmm.
I ain't gotta deal with big fella lying to me. I ain't gotta deal with possibly catching something. I get all of that. You know what I mean? But when I made the song, it started from a conversation. Good friend of mine, it's just jokingly, I'm about to go kick it with Bob. And I was like, Bob, who's Bob? And she was like, battery operated boyfriend. I was like, oh my God, I'm finna make a song out of that. Like immediately I ran to the studio,
Hmm.
right? And had to make a song out of it. And it went on to be one of those things. It's a showstopper when I do it live, and never went to radio, you know what I mean? But it just, it'll be forever one of those things that, the elephant in the room, you know what I
Right.
mean? I think it made for a great conversation. And like I said, like you need a real type of thing. It can't be duplicated. Your body needs to be loved the way that God made it. See,
I so I agree. I agree with that. So I think that sometimes a
Bob
lot of
can't kiss those thighs.
it cannot, right? It
You know what I'm
cannot.
saying?
So
Bob can't share your morning rise, and
it
Bob
cannot.
can't stay this hard. I can do better. He can longer than your battery operated boyfriend.
So yes, right. All of that, yes. So
Bzzz,
I do feel like though.
bzzz. Do y'all hear that?
I do feel like though, like sometimes men are a tad bit intimidated by sex toys because sex toys are made specifically to get you off. Like you can't really, a human can't really compete with that, really, right?
Yeah,
But like you said, even though I use a sex toys don't replace people. You
yeah,
still like the touch of a person, the weight of a
yeah.
person, the, kiss of a person. So I think there's room for both things. Sometimes
Well, maybe just the men need their own toys. You know what I
they
mean? Like,
have some.
I mean, but y'all got way more options
We
than men.
do.
Y'all got way more.
Also, sex toys are not gender specific. So I can take a wand and then use it on a guy. Like you can use it like, to massage all the places on the guy, the nipples, the scrotum, all the
We
places.
ain't finna electrocute me. I'm just messing.
So they're not gender specific. So you can use the same sex toy on me and use it on you. So I just want to throw that out there for people. So in closing, right? So leave listeners with a message about love and protecting your life at the same time. So no, yeah. So what would you say to people who are who are like saying, I don't know what purpose for me? One.
Hmm.
And then two, tell people about what you have coming up. Like I know you're on tour
I,
and all those things.
I would say, as it relates to HIV and what's happening right now in this country
Mm-hmm.
and on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
um, get tested, know your
Okay.
status,
Okay.
be, get comfortable about having the uncomfortable conversations that need to be had,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, don't listen to the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your primary care physician.
Mm-hmm.
See if PrEP is for you.
Mm-hmm.
HIV is not a you epidemic. It's not, doesn't care, whether you are 5'7", what I mean, black or brown, straight, heterosexual. Uh, it doesn't care about any of that. We're all HIV possible.
We are.
The biggest danger is just like the stigmas or being ignorant, you know, you know what I mean, to certain things, or regurgitating and repeating something that you heard someone else say,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean? Like, and now too with like Chat GBT and that type of thing, you can research things. Like, you know what I mean? Like the search engine is a search engine for a reason, to do
Yes.
the research. But talk
Yes.
to your primary care doctor and see if it's for you. You know what I mean? Of course, you can abstain completely too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but do what works for you. Be safe doing it. Be as safe as you can be doing it. You know, as far as like some of the cool things that I have coming up, I'm looking forward to prayerfully to continue my partnership with Gilead. It's been incredible. It's been an incredible ride. Like the last, 2 years going into 2026. I'm looking forward to doing more work with them. Couldn't think of a better partner to have to do HIV prevention with and to have these conversations. Of course, we just had World AIDS Day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So we continue to have the conversations. Hopefully, we'll see a period in life or a time where we won't have to talk about HIV because it'll be
Yeah.
completely gone, right?
Hopefully.
Uh, I'm looking forward to touring, doing more touring. I'm currently on the 20 Lessons of Love tour right now. I'll be coming to Atlanta the first week of Atlanta. I'll be in Chicago the last week of the year. I'm spending New Year's Eve here in the Washington, D.C. area. Got big concert. First show just sold out. I think they're about to add a second show.
Good.
Doing radio right now. I'm loving that. It just got the announcement yesterday that I have not. I went from having the number one urban show to having the number one show at nighttime. So
Oh,
I'm 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 I'm,
congratulations.
I'm tied number one with contemporary Christian radio right now.
Okay.
So yeah, so shout out to my PD. He said we doing Melvin Lindsay numbers right now. So which was just like great to hear. Uh, so I hope to expand to doing syndication at some point. But I'm enjoying like riding the wave, doing radio, still touring. New music is on the way. It just dropped 3 new singles. You, the 20-year anniversary single pack, which is out now.
Okay.
Check out that Quiet Storm mix version of You. We'll be going for radio ads at the top of the year on that. And 20 Lessons of Love, which is a new single as well. And I dropped a single for Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is as you celebrate. It's called Snowed In. So it's the perfect pre-prep, have a conversation, home test kit. It's a home test kit. All these records are home test kit records, boys and girls.
Home
They're
test
a
kit.
home test kit. I make home test kit R&B slow jams,
Home
okay?
test
So
kit.
get you a home test kit, right? And then yeah, all right. But but yeah, so 3 new singles that out I dropped, during November. A lot of great music on the way. Check out Granite, When Butterflies Become Unicorns. I got Brendolyn, Sweet Brown Enigma on the way in the new year, sometime in 2026. A lot of great things happening. And I'm just, I'm thankful after, I'm in the midst of celebrating my 20-year anniversary, but it is a delight to just still have my name simply in the conversation as it relates to soul and R&B. I work extremely hard and I'm just coming for everything that I feel like I ever deserved. I'm coming for it respectfully. So putting that work
As you
in.
should.
Yeah, putting that work in. Yeah, for sure.
As you should. And thank you for coming by the Sex with Ashley show.
Absolutely. We got to do it live in person sometime too.
We do. Just say when, and I'm always available.
All right, cool. We might have to do something, I don't know, for one of these shows, show day or something. It's 2 shows a night, but we could figure it out. Maybe we'll do some in the day in the life or something behind backstage or something. We'll figure it out.
Thanks for listening to Sex with Ashley. If you learned something today, do me a favor and send me a review and share this episode. And if you want more guidance, you can also purchase my book, Pleasure Please, available at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and wherever books are sold. Love you, mean it. See you next week.